Come here. Sit down. Okay. So, what does this book, The New Jim Crow, the Bible, Beyoncé, the movie Sinners, and Kendrick Lamar all have in common? It is reviewing how we are going to reclaim our story, our history, and all the things. And I am making so many connections that I have to share some of it with you. Okay, so first I want to read to you something from the New Jim Crow. And I want to walk you through, if you'll sit with me, to talk about sin and how religion has been used to cause so much suffering. And then we're going to kind of start coming to how we're actually getting the reclamation piece into play. I will more than likely do a deep dive in my actual course about this because I only have 10 minutes. So here we go. So I am on the prologue of this book and reading from the book The New Jim Crow. It reads, "The politics of white supremacy, which defined our original Constitution, have continued unabated, repeatedly and predictably engendering new systems of racial and social control. The politics of white supremacy have been driven temporarily underground." That was prior when the author was writing this book. But today, racial bigotry, fear-mongering, and scapegoating are no longer subterranean. In our political discourse, the dog whistles have been replaced by bullhorns. The politics of Trumpism and fake news are not new. They are as old as the nation itself. The very same playbook has been used over and over in this country by those who seek to preserve racial hierarchy or to exploit racial resentments and anxieties for political gain, each time with similar results. So I have been saying history repeats itself. When you have been online and during the election cycle, we have heard from many Black people trying to warn the masses to say, this is nothing new. African Americans, Black people in America have been experiencing this same treatment for hundreds of years. And this book goes into why that is, but I also want to go into talking a little bit about the concept of sinners. Child, I got stuff all over the place. I'm so excited. Okay, so I want to talk about the concept of sinners. And I want to read you something from a Time article that was also talking about how Christian slave owners use the Bible to justify slavery. Now, I'm going to scroll down to the end of the article, and this excerpt says, reviewing the work of white churches, Frederick Douglass has this to say: "Between the Christianity of this land and the Christianity of Christ, I recognize the wildest possible difference, so wide that to receive the one as good, pure, and holy is of necessity to reject the other as bad, corrupt, and wicked. To be the friend of the one is of necessity to be the enemy of the other. I love the pure, peaceable, and impartial Christianity of Christ. I therefore hate the corrupt, slave-holding, women-whipping, cradle-plundering, partial, and hypocritical Christianity of this land. Indeed, I can see no reason but the most deceitful one for calling the religion of this land Christianity." Stay with me. So the concept or the teachings or the reclamation of history has been in the music that we listen to, the books that we read, the movies that we watch. It's everywhere. And when people say, why is everything about race? Because it is. So I have a whole bunch of tabs open. But I want to take you back to the beginning of the scene in Sinners when Sammy's father took his guitar and is asking him to do the sermon with him. And he goes to have him read 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 13. And it says, "No temptation has seized you except what is common to man. And God is faithful. He will not let you be tempted beyond what you can bear. but when you are tempted, he will also provide a way out so that you can stand under it. Now, let's jump to the concept of sin. The movie is called Sinners. And as I read initially, we know that slave owners use Christianity as a way to control the slaves. They literally redacted, added, flipped it and reversed it in order to justify the ill treatment of slaves and people that were held in bondage in this country. And what I want us to think through is I want to jump to The Man at the Garden by Kendrick Lamar. And I literally want to read. I'm going to jump to a couple of things because, again, I got to do this quickly. But one of the parts of his lyrics says, the respect and the accolades, lamping on the island, watching Castaway, I deserve it all. For every good person that passed away, sent 2.5 million on an average day, I deserve it all. What is that 2.5 million number? That, my friends, is related to during the 18th century, British slavers transported almost 2.5 million Africans across the Atlantic. So, as Africans are being taken and forcibly brought to this country, remember, Christianity is being forced upon them. They are being told that they are less than human. I highly recommend you read the book, The Great Stain. I started reading it in love. It's hard. It's a hard read, I'm not gonna lie. But when we think about how Black people in this country were looked at as property and they were not looked at as human, you could literally equate the transatlantic slave trade almost as if you're just transporting goods and services, which is awful. So when I think about when I was standing in the concert and I was watching Beyoncé perform Daughter, I lost my mind. So when I look at the lyrics, she says, help me, Lord, from these fantasies in my head. They ain't never been safe ones. I don't fellowship with these fake ones. So let's travel to white chapels and sing hymns, hold rosary, sing in stained glass symphonies, cleanse me, Holy Trinity, from this marijuana smoke in my hair. Now, this is important because when you think about just how Africans that were taken from the land and brought here had to utilize Christianity in order to still practice their spiritual traditions and their spiritual practices, you begin to realize how the church has become so embedded in Black culture today. And then I heard Church Girl in the concert, and then I was like, wait a minute. Beyoncé throughout, and again, there's too much to go into here. Definitely going to be putting these deep dives in my course. But then when I think about Church Girl and the lyrics related to this song, when she says, I've been up, I've been down, feel like I moved mountains, got friends that cried fountains. I'm warning everybody, as soon as I get in this party, I'm going to let go of this body. I'm going to love on me. Nobody can judge me. I was born free. So when you think about how all of us were born free, and even when we look at Annie and we think about just the hoodoo and the spiritual practices that she had while practicing in the Delta in the early 1900s, at the same time when we're exploring how midwives and the women that caught the babies were literally having all of their practices taken from them. This is a reclamation of our history and our culture, and I need you to start reading up on it.